Good afternoon.
Frank, can you hear us, Frank?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order. I'm Joseph Greco, I'm the chair of the Committee of Adjustments. To my left is Melinda McGregor, to my right is Anthony Rossi, and on Zoom is Member Bruni. Michelle, if you'd like to give us the land acknowledgement.
Okay. I acknowledge with respect that we are in Robinson Huron Treaty Territory, that the land on which we are gathered is the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe and known as Bawating. Bawating is the home of Garden River First Nation, Batuwana First Nation, and the historic Sault Ste. Marie Métis Council. Mr. Chair, if I could have a motion for the minutes of March 30th.
Yeah, sorry, my apologies. Can I have a motion? I'll report the motion. Second the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Thank you. There's no disclosure of pecuniary interest come to my attention. Anybody wish to disclose? Seeing none. We'll move to the first matter, the only matter on our agenda today, and it's application A25. A825, civic number 683 John Street. It's in tab 1 of your binder. 2355288 Ontario Limited, being operating as Direct Pro Contracting, is the owner of civic number 683 John Street, further described as part 1 of 1R7481 and being pin 315690244. It is located on the westerly side of John Street, approximately 17 meters south of the Bainbridge Street intersection. The property is irregular in shape. It is designated industrial in the official plan and is zoned M2 medium industrial and is subject to site plan control. The following variances are requested from section 14.2. Did it lock?
That was locked.
Oh, it must have. Yeah, just turn the handle and push it in. Well, never mind, just shut it. We'll just have to. We've just started. So I'll just repeat. 2355288 Ontario Limited is the owner of civic number 683 John Street. It's located on the westerly side of John Street, approximately 17 meters south of the Bainbridge Street intersection. The property is irregular in shape. It is designated industrial in the official plan and is zoned M2 medium industrial and is subject to site plan control. The following variances are requested, specifically from section 14.2 of zoning bylaw 2005-150. Rear yard requirement in the bylaw is 8 meters. The applicant seeks to reduce the rear yard requirement to 3.43 meters. Interior side yard requirement is 5 meters. The applicant seeks to reduce the south interior side yard to 3.84 meters. The bylaw calls for landscape open space of 75% of the required front yard, and the applicant proposes to reduce the required front yard landscape open space to 28.8% in the circulated notice. The applicant will be requesting that be amended slightly when they get up to speed. The purpose and effect is to facilitate the construction of a new 398.54 square meter building to support the permitted use as a contractor's yard. Notice of public hearing was sent by personal mail to neighboring properties by posting a sign on site and posting on the city website. And we have a few interested parties in attendance. As part of the application review, this proposal was circulated to the following internal departments and external agencies for their review. Building Division had no objection. Conservation Authority had no concerns or objections, advising that site plan review would be required to assess for a development permit. Engineering and Construction advised that vehicular access to Carmen's Way is not allowed. They noted that as this is under development control, details such as driveway width, grading and servicing will be addressed during that approval process. Fire services had no comment or concerns. Legal department had no comment. Planning division staff had no objection to the setback reduction of the required interior side yard. This reduction is consistent with the general intent of the zoning bylaw. There are no objections to reducing the required rear yard from 8 meters to 3.43 meters, conditional on the reduced rear yard being enhanced as a landscape buffer consistent with the streetscape of Carmen's Way to the satisfaction of the director of planning or his designate. It should be noted that planning does not consider the proposed reduction from 75% to 28.8% to be minor, and therefore does not support the request. However, planning is prepared to support a reduction from 75% to 37%, provided an additional 3-meter wide landscape area is provided in the required front yard, as illustrated on the attached informational site plan. The said area is to contain enhanced landscaping. The landscaping design must be to the satisfaction of the director of planning or their designate. Planning staff wish to note that they are supportive of the new site plan dated 25/04/22, which incorporates their comments, and they have no objection to amended request to reduce the landscape area requirement from 75% to 40%. PUC Distribution Inc. Electrical Utility, the owner is encouraged to contact PUC Engineering early in the process to determine electrical servicing requirements. Public Utilities Commission, the water utility, the owner is encouraged to contact PUC Engineering early in the process to determine water servicing requirements. Recommended conditions: amend the requested reduction to landscaping from 75% to 40%. Provide an additional 3-meter wide enhanced landscape area in the required front yard as illustrated. Provide an enhanced landscape buffer in the reduced rear yard, which is consistent with the streetscape of Carmen's Way. Landscape design for both must be to the satisfaction of the director of planning or his designate. And those are my submissions, Mr. Chair. Again, Mr. DeClerc from Northway is here representing the applicant, and there's several interested parties.
Okay. Mr. DeClerc, I guess you would like to stay where you are, normally I'd say close to the
Yeah,
podium, but
there's
we
no
don't
podium.
we don't have a podium here. Do you have any comments or questions for the committee?
Okay,
Why I got some questions, maybe not for you,
Yeah,
but
so basically, representing our client.
yeah, somebody at the door? Or maybe we should.
Oh, she's at the next.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
so, it is our intent of our client that we're gonna create a building for, its intent of use is going to be basically contractors building for, so the building's, about 40% office, the other, 60% is interior storage. They're running a company that's basically currently they're doing interior renovations and additions, so on. So there's as far as the site plan goes, we developed the newest revised site plan to reflect that 40% landscaping, enhanced landscaping. Building is quite attractive. It's
Yeah.
brand new building.
Yeah.
Has architectural flair.
so is your client, my question is, your
Yeah.
client okay with this recommendation for planning to go from 28 to 37?
Well, it's 40%. They
Well,
redid
yeah,
it.
redid it?
They redid
Yeah,
the
they're-
design, yeah.
Oh, okay,
They're prepared to do 40% landscape.
okay, all right,
Front yard.
I guess that gets rid of my question.
Yeah.
Planning. Okay, is there any other comments in the gallery on this application? Does anybody have a comment or concern they want to bring to the committee? Now would be the time to do so. And if you could state or questions for the applicant,
Yeah, question or concern, the
Your-
only concern I
your,
have is.
name and address, sir,
113 Bainbridge, I live right on the corner that
and your name.
basically views,
Yeah.
last name is Strike, STREICH, first name Robert.
Okay,
So I have a clear cut view of the facility when it's gonna be built. And my concern is just primarily with what will be more on the outside of the yard rather than inside the building. in reference to refuge, what kind of equipment, if any, will be outside, what's gonna be stored outside, what kind of
Fancy.
waste facilities will be on premises to handle any of the product that they can't use anymore. Like I just don't want it to end up being a messy yard that's not maintained properly, which will discourage the habitation of small rodents, etc., in that area. And therefore them enjoying the view across the street and possibly habitating my property.
So
That's kind of the primary concern.
before I go back to Mr. the Clerk, this committee can't comment on, say, a city bylaw officer's responsibility to police, any issues that may come up that violate those bylaws, right? So if there was a mess, you would have to call bylaw enforcement. They would come out and they would, issue a ticket or a summons or whatever they have to do to rectify the problem. But we can't make a decision here today based on your concerns for potential violations of.
Okay, so is there a proper, is this application through the city, not this committee per se, but the application process, does the city look at what they would have to have on site to accommodate waste and that?
No,
Not at all.
not, we wouldn't. You could, yeah, not,
It's under site plan control, and in site plan control, those matters are looked at, where and what storage is going to be provided, where the refuse receptacles will be located, that's all part of the site plan control, and Nick may want to speak to that, what other matters will be looked at in site plan control.
Yes, so the site plan control process evaluates and dictates the attributes of the site. So we look at location of storage and refuge, and we look at things such as landscaping, the orientation of the building, and all that. And that goes through a process that involves internal city agencies and external agencies that comment on the site plan. For example, internal would be planning, building division, engineering, accessibility. And then external are stuff like conservation authority, PUC. And fire services. So all aspects of the site will be looked at and commented by these internal or external agencies. And these comments that we provide to the applicant, they have to revise the site plan to address all such comments.
And if I just might add to that, it is a permitted use, so we're not looking at use here, we're looking at the setbacks. And some storage and that sort of thing is permitted. If, as you fear might happen potentially, that the yard becomes messy or untidy and stuff like that, the bylaw enforcement and building enforces property standards, and that's who you would call, and they would be out to see what's not complying with standards for the lot, for the property.
and our bylaw enforcement division, I can say from my own experience, they're very active right now. And I don't see, they're pretty on the ball. So I don't think you would have a missed phone, they'd return your calls and they would be in communication.
Yeah, I have dealt with them.
Yeah, they're pretty good, especially now in the last couple of years, they've really gotten better, so I don't think you'll have any issue.
Okay.
Okay. Any other call? Mr. DeClerc, did you want to address any of that, or did we hit that on the head?
Yeah, I think you pretty much hit it on the head.
Okay.
I might kind of just add a little bit with the our client being kind of client, we're not from what they told me, they're not bringing in heavy equipment, anything like that. It's not going to become a storage space. They got off-site storage right now, and it isn't their intent to create a yard full of storage. So they want to keep the building nice and attractive for business. And a lot of the vehicles that are being used at this time are they have a contracting business with pickup trucks and 3/4 ton, that kind of thing. So there's no site storage at this point, and that's not the intent at this point. So
Any other comments from anybody in the gallery?
No, I had submitted my questions to Michelle, but I think they pretty well were answered.
I didn't put them in the report because they didn't seem to be comments to the committee, but more advice you wanted, which is why I put Mr. DeClerc in touch with you. So if you have, do you have any further questions on that, or did you want to?
Before I close this floor for discussion, no other comments from anybody? Nope. Any comments from committee members? Questions for anybody? Okay. Seeing none, we'll put this motion to, put this application for, on the floor for a motion. Would somebody like to put a motion out for approval or denial?
I can put forward the motion to approve based on, the fact that, the developer is, is accommodating and that they're actually showing it on a very thoughtful site plan, to enhance the landscaping. I appreciate the concerns from the neighbors, but it's not a property standards impact or request to do a variance there. Very appealing building, the enhanced landscaping. So I'd make the recommendation to approve based on the conditions as stated.
Chair, I'll second. Thank you. It's a motion by Mr. Mooney, seconded by Mr. Rossi. All in favor for
The amended.
the
In
amended,
favor?
the amended application? And Mr. Mooney, you were in favor?
Yes.
Okay, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everybody. As we can adjourn this meeting. Thank you very much.
You might not be able to get out, but we can adjourn the
We
meeting.
can adjourn. We need to get that door back.
I can sign off?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're all
thank
good.